In the heart of the Pir Panjal range, nestled within the Himalayas, lies a landscape of breathtaking beauty, a place where history and nature have interwoven to create something truly extraordinary. This is Gulmarg, the Meadow of Flowers. My name is Mutahir Meraj, and for as long as I can remember, these mountains have been a part of my story. But the story of Gulmarg itself is far older, a grand narrative written across centuries, shaped by the hands of shepherds, emperors, colonial officers and adventurers. It is a tale of transformation, from a sacred ground named for a goddess to a royal garden, a colonial retreat, and finally, a world-renowned capital of adventure. Today, we see the vibrant slopes teeming with skiers and the lush green fairways of its famous golf course. But to truly understand this place, to feel its pulse, we must journey back in time. We must walk in the footsteps of those who came before us, who saw in these high-altitude meadows not just a place of recreation, but a sanctuary of profound peace and unparalleled splendor. It is a history rich with romance, ambition, and a deep, enduring love for the natural world. Join me as we peel back the layers of time to uncover the remarkable evolution of Gulmarg. We will explore its ancient origins, witness the passion of kings and queens who found solace here, see how a distant empire reshaped its destiny, and trace its rise to become the iconic destination it is today. This is the story of how a simple meadow, cradled by giants of snow and rock, became a legend. A story of Gulmarg, from a royal retreat to an adventure hub. Long before the arrival of emperors and kings, this high-altitude meadow was known by a different name, a name that spoke of its spiritual significance. It was called Gulmarg, the Meadow of Gauri, a name honoring the consort of Lord Shiva. Shepherds, the first human inhabitants to truly know these slopes, would guide their flocks here during the warm summer months, following ancient pathways carved by season and tradition. They found a sanctuary of lush pasture, a haven blessed by the divine, where the earth seemed to touch the heavens. This was a land of quiet reverence, its beauty a silent testament to the powerful forces of nature that had shaped it over millennia. The Mughal emperors, with their unparalleled eye for natural grandeur, were inevitably drawn to these Himalayan heights. While Kashmir's other valleys became famed for their formal gardens, Gulmarg retained a wilder, more untamed allure. It was a place of retreat, a respite from the summer heat of the plains and the intricate politics of the court. The great rulers of the Mughal dynasty would make the arduous journey to this serene meadow, not to build grand monuments of stone, but to immerse themselves in the sublime spectacle of the landscape itself, finding inspiration in its untamed beauty and crisp mountain air. The transformation from Gulmarg to Gulmarg is a story of romance and royal appreciation, centered around one man, Sultan Yusuf Shah Chak. In the 16th century, this ruler of the Chak dynasty, known for his poetic soul and deep love for the Kashmir Valley, was utterly captivated by this particular meadow. He saw beyond the simple pasture and envisioned a realm of vibrant color and intoxicating fragrance. He frequented this place often, finding it a source of endless delight and creative inspiration, a landscape that mirrored the beauty he sought to cultivate in his kingdom and in his art. It was Sultan Yusuf Shah Chak who, struck by the sheer abundance and variety of wildflowers that carpeted the valley floor, bestowed upon it the name it carries to this day. He called it Gulmarg, a poetic Persian phrase meaning the Meadow of Flowers. The name was not merely a descriptor, it was an ode, a declaration of love for a place that had captured his heart. This act of renaming marked a pivotal moment, shifting the meadow's identity from one of ancient spiritual reverence to one celebrated for its aesthetic botanical splendor, a paradise of blossoms fit for a king. The Sultan's affection for Gulmarg was a passion shared by his queen, the celebrated poetess Haba Khatun. Together, they would often escape to these meadows, finding in its serene beauty a perfect backdrop for their romance and artistic pursuits. One can imagine them wandering hand in hand through fields of lupins and gentians, the verses of her poetry and the melodies of his songs mingling with the sound of the wind through the pines. For them, Gulmarg was not a territory to be governed, but a personal sanctuary, a world away from the pressures of rule, where their love for each other and for nature could flourish. This royal patronage continued and indeed deepened with the arrival of the great Mughal Emperor Jahangir. A man with a keen scientific and aesthetic interest in the natural world, Jahangir was fascinated by Gulmarg's floral diversity. It is said that he was so enchanted by the wildflowers here that he once planned to collect 21 different varieties to adorn his magnificent gardens. This imperial interest cemented Gulmarg's status as a place of exceptional natural wealth, a botanical treasure chest whose fame was carried far beyond the confines of the Kashmir Valley, solidifying its reputation as a true meadow of flowers. The decline of the Mughal Empire and the rise of British influence in the Indian subcontinent, well, it marked the beginning of a new chapter for Gulmarg. As the British established their dominion, their officials and soldiers, used to the cooler climes of Europe, sought refuge from the scorching heat of the Indian plains. So they looked to the mountains, and in the Himalayas, they found their salvation. Hill stations like Shimla, Darjeeling and Mussoorie began to flourish, becoming seasonal capitals and centers of colonial life, meticulously designed to replicate a slice of England in the heart of Asia. It was inevitable that their gaze would fall upon the Kashmir Valley and eventually upon the high, cool meadows of Gulmarg. They saw in its rolling hills and pleasant summer climate the perfect location for a new highland retreat. The British were not poets or kings seeking romantic inspiration. They were pragmatic administrators, soldiers, and families looking for comfort, health, and recreation. Their arrival would forever alter the trajectory of Gulmarg, initiating a period of structured development that would lay the foundations for the modern resort we know today, transforming it from a wild meadow into a carefully curated colonial outpost. For British officials stationed in the sweltering heat of northern India, Gulmarg became the ultimate summer escape. They established a seasonal settlement, building charming wooden huts with gabled roofs and manicured gardens, creating a small corner of England amidst the Himalayan peaks. It became a place for leisure and socializing, a respite where families could enjoy the cool mountain air, picnics, and horseback riding. The entire administration would, in effect, shift to this mountain paradise, escaping the oppressive climate of the lowlands and governing from a place of scenic comfort and temperate weather. But the British brought with them more than just their architecture and administrative habits. They brought their pastimes. Chief among them was the game of golf. Seeing the naturally undulating terrain of the meadow, they recognized its potential and set about creating a golf course. This was no ordinary course. Established in the late 19th century and later redesigned, it gained the distinction of being the highest green golf course in the world. This single act of recreational engineering profoundly shaped Gulmarg's identity, branding it not just as a place of natural beauty, but as a destination for elite sport and leisure. While golf defined the summers, it was the deep winter snow that held the key to Gulmarg's future. The potential of these pristine, powder-covered slopes did not go unnoticed by adventurous British residents. Two British Army officers, Major Naidu and Major Haddo, are credited with pioneering the sport here, establishing the very first ski club in 1927. This was the birth of the Ski Club of India, a momentous event that marked the beginning of Gulmarg's transformation into a winter sports paradise. The focus began to shift from a purely summer retreat to a year-round destination. With the club's formation, Gulmarg began hosting annual ski events during both Christmas and Easter. These gatherings, initially small affairs for colonial officers and their families, grew in popularity and prestige. The long, gentle slopes were perfect for beginners, while the higher reaches offered challenges for the more experienced. This introduction of organized skiing was a pivotal development. It planted a seed that would, over the decades, grow and blossom, eventually turning these quiet, snow-laden meadows into one of the most sought-after skiing and snowboarding destinations on the entire planet. Following India's independence in 1947 and the subsequent integration of Jammu and Kashmir, Gulmarg entered a new phase of its existence. The Indian Army, recognizing its strategic importance, established a significant presence, including the High-Altitude Warfare School, which uses the challenging terrain for elite training. This military presence brought with it a degree of stability and infrastructure. Simultaneously, the Indian government began to see Gulmarg's immense potential not as a colonial retreat, but as a national treasure and a prime destination for tourism and adventure sports for all Indians and international visitors. This vision led to significant investment in infrastructure. Ski lifts were installed, hotels were developed, and most importantly, the Gulmarg Gondola was constructed. This cable car system, one of the highest in the world, opened up the upper reaches of Mount Afawat, providing access to vast, challenging terrain that was previously accessible only to the most determined mountaineers. This development was the final catalyst, transforming Gulmarg from a quaint ski hill into a world-class adventure hub, attracting thrill-seekers from every corner of the globe to experience its legendary powder snow and breathtaking Himalayan vistas. And so, the story of Gulmarg comes full circle. From a sacred meadow for shepherds to a pleasure garden for kings, from a colonial hill station to a global adventure capital. Each era has left its indelible mark upon this landscape. The name given by a poet king still echoes in the valleys. The fairways laid by colonial officers still shimmer in the summer sun, and the passion for skiing, first ignited nearly a century ago, now burns brighter than ever, drawing a new generation of adventurers to its slopes. Gulmarg is a living museum, a place where layers of history rest one upon the other. This meadow is more than just a destination. It is a testament to resilience and adaptation. It has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the changing of flags, and the evolution of human desires. Yet, through it all, the core of its identity, the breathtaking natural beauty of the Meadow of Flowers, has remained constant. The snow-capped peaks of the Pir Panjal still stand guard, the wildflowers still bloom with defiant vibrancy each summer, and the crisp mountain air still offers a sense of peace and profound connection to the natural world. As we stand here today, watching skiers carve lines in the snow or hikers wander through fields of flowers, we are part of this continuing story. My name is Mutahir Meraj, and I hope this journey through time has given you a deeper appreciation for this extraordinary place. Gulmarg reminds us that while human history shapes a landscape, it is the enduring power and majesty of nature that will always have the final word. Thank you for joining me.